I never believed in the stories whispered around campfires or the chilling tales that echoed through the night. That was until I encountered the Creepy Knifeman. It began innocently enough, a weekend camping trip with friends deep in the heart of the forest. We were eager to escape the city's suffocating embrace and immerse ourselves in nature's tranquility. Little did we know, nature had other plans for us. The woods greeted us with an eerie silence, the kind that prickled the skin and stirred the imagination. Despite the unease that lingered in the air, we pitched our tents, built a crackling fire, and settled in for the night. As the darkness descended, so did a sense of foreboding. Shadows danced among the trees, and the rustling leaves whispered secrets only the forest understood. I dismissed it as paranoia, blaming it on the unfamiliar surroundings and the flickering flames that cast sinister shapes on the forest floor. It wasn't until the moon hung high in the sky, painting everything in a ghostly hue, that we heard it, the faint sound of footsteps, like the soft padding of a predator stalking its prey. We exchanged nervous glances, laughter faltering as unease settled like a weight in our chests. I convinced myself it was just an animal, a deer perhaps, wandering through the woods in search of food. But deep down, I knew better. There was something primal in the air, a palpable sense of danger that refused to be ignored. We huddled closer to the fire, seeking solace in its warmth and light. Yet, no matter how bright the flames burned, they couldn't chase away the darkness that lurked just beyond the tree line. Hours passed, each one stretching into eternity as we waited, hearts pounding in our chests, for the dawn to break and banish the night. But the sun never came. Instead, the forest seemed to swallow us whole, suffocating us with its oppressive embrace. That's when we saw him, a figure emerging from the shadows, tall and gaunt, with eyes that gleamed like coals in the darkness. He moved with a grace that belied his size, a silent predator stalking its prey, the Creepy Knifeman. His face was obscured by a tattered mask, twisted into a grotesque mockery of a smile. In one hand, he clutched a gleaming blade, the metal catching the firelight and casting sinister reflections across the forest floor. We froze, rooted to the spot by fear and disbelief. This couldn't be happening, not here, not now. But there he stood, a specter of terror incarnate, his presence poisoning the air and chilling us to the bone. I wanted to run, to flee into the safety of the night and leave this nightmare behind. But my limbs refused to obey, paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of the horror unfolding before us. He spoke then, his voice a rasping whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "Run," he said, his words dripping with malice. "Run, and I might let you live." With a primal instinct born of survival, we scattered, each of us racing blindly through the darkness, desperate to escape the clutches of the Creepy Knifeman. Branches tore at my skin, roots tripped me up, but still, I ran, fueled by fear and adrenaline. Behind me, I could hear the others screaming, their voices swallowed by the night as the forest swallowed them whole. I wanted to go back, to help them, but I knew it was futile. We were alone in the darkness, at the mercy of forces far beyond our comprehension. I stumbled through the underbrush, every sound magnified 100-fold in the silence of the night. The forest seemed to close in around me, a living, breathing entity intent on claiming me as its own. And still, he pursued me, his footsteps echoing in the darkness, a relentless drumbeat that drove me ever onward. I could feel his presence looming behind me, a shadowy specter that haunted my every step. I don't know how long I ran, how far I traveled through the endless maze of trees and undergrowth. Time lost all meaning in the darkness, the minutes stretching into hours as the night dragged on without end. But eventually, inevitably, I stumbled, my legs giving out beneath me as exhaustion claimed me. I fell to the forest floor, gasping for breath, my heart pounding in my chest like a drumbeat of doom. And then he was upon me, his presence looming over me like a specter of death. I could feel his breath hot against my neck, his blade hovering just inches from my throat. I closed my eyes, bracing myself for the final blow, but it never came. Instead, he spoke, his voice a whisper in the darkness. "Pathetic," he said, his words dripping with contempt. "You're not even worth the effort." And with that, he was gone, melting back into the shadows from whence he came, leaving me alone in the darkness, shaken but alive. I don't know what became of the others, whether they escaped the clutches of the creepy Knifeman or fell victim to his insatiable hunger for blood. All I know is that I survived, a hollow victory in the face of unspeakable horror. And now, as I sit here, trembling and alone, I can't help but wonder, was it all just a nightmare, a trick of the mind born from the depths of fear? Or did I truly encounter the creepy Knifeman, a living embodiment of terror that lurks in the darkness, waiting to claim its next victim? I may never know the answer, but one thing is certain, the edge of darkness is a dangerous place, a realm where nightmares roam free and the line between reality and fantasy blurs beyond recognition. And as long as the creepy Knifeman stalks the shadows, I will never truly be free from the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of my vision.
By the way, if you want more horror and creepy stories like this, then please subscribe.